Hey everyone, I'm 28, female, and I'm the oldest of three siblings. I have a sister, 26, female, and a brother, 26, male. In our family, my brother is the one who is the certified golden child. My parents always wanted to have a boy, and when they learned that I was going to be a girl, it was too late to go for an abortion, so they had me. After that, they kept trying. And if I'm not wrong, my mom went through 4 abortions before she got pregnant with the twins. The only reason they went through with the pregnancy was because my parents were desperate for a son. Since my brother was born, me and my sister have been pushed to the side. We were mostly taken care of by our grandparents and nannies while my mother was extremely clingy with my brother. Owing to this treatment, my brother never got a taste of real life. He is a sheltered child, and there is no way to ignore that. He's 26 years old, and he cannot make his food because my mother never allowed him in the kitchen. He does not know how to even buy groceries, even if you give him a list because of how much my mother has given him. None of the relationships my brother had since he was young worked out. After a while, every girl realized that he is a man child who they want nothing to do with and broke it off with him. Did that repeated occurrence bother him? No. Despite several relationships being broken up this way, both mom and he were delusional enough to believe that everything was on the girl each time, and he was not at fault. Tired of having these conversations repeatedly over the years, I decided to give up on trying to have a sane conversation with both of them when I was 22. I enrolled in a master's program on a different continent and left the house. During this master's course, I met my now husband. He was a year older than me, and we were in the same class. We became fast friends and then lovers. Our relationship was going strong for 3 years, and that led him asking me to marry him about 4 months ago. When he proposed to me, I was elated, and I could not help but share the news with my family. But that caused a new set of issues. My brother was not at all happy that I was getting married when he was not married. I tried to tell him that it is okay that he's not married yet and that he can focus on the relationship he has right now. And once he feels stable enough in the relationship, he can propose to her. But no, whatever I said went to deaf ears. For him, all that mattered was that he, the man of the house, was not going to be the one to get married. I tried to explain that it is not any less manly to not be married when he's 26, but that only made him angrier and made him snap at me. After hearing all of that from him, I decided that enough was enough and I dropped the conversation. Assuming this was all there was to it, I moved on as planning the wedding was going to be quite hectic, but my family had a different idea. 3 weeks before my wedding, I was having the rehearsal dinner with my family as it was a weekend everyone was comfortable with. During that rehearsal dinner, I noticed that my parents and my brother were busy talking amongst themselves whenever they were not dealing with the dinner. The deep conversation that they were engrossed in made me wonder what was up between them, so I approached them after the majority of the things were done. When questioned, my parents beamed at me and told me about their amazing plan. Their amazing plan is to have my brother propose to his girlfriend of 7 months at my wedding. They said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world, and I am the weird one for not having thought of that on my own. So you can imagine how shocked I was when I heard it. I asked them if they were being serious, and their answer? They were being very serious. To say I was irritated would have been a huge downplaying of the situation. I explained that what they were trying to do was not acceptable at all, and I could not support them. My mother asked me why I was behaving this way because she simply could not understand why I would not want to share the most important day of my life with my brother. In her eyes, I am being a bad person for doing that, as I should always think of the family first before I think of anything else. Irritated with everything she was saying, I got into an argument with her, and in front of the rest of the family, I made it very clear that I wanted nothing to do with my brother proposing at my wedding because I wanted one day just for myself. And as this was my wedding, I deserved to be wed in peace without having him steal the limelight again the way he had been doing since we were children. Our sister, being the middle child, is not someone who enjoys making comments in these situations, but she agreed with me. She told our parents that we should have our brother propose to his girlfriend somewhere else because there is no guarantee that his girlfriend would appreciate being proposed to at my wedding either, as that might make her feel like she was not important enough for our brother that he proposed at the wedding. Seeing the logic and how that might be affecting his very own image, my brother decided it would be better to drop the whole thing and that we were right and he was not going to do it. I trusted him. It was a wrong decision because fast forward 3 months when I was getting married. Right after I reached the altar, my brother stood up from his seat and knelt in front of his girlfriend. As the family of the bride sits in the front on the bridal side, everybody could see it happening. It was humiliating and I snapped, honestly. I immediately got down from the altar and grabbed my brother and made him get back on his feet before he could pop the question. When he stood up and asked me what I wanted, I told him to leave. The moment I said that, my mom sprung up on her feet, asking me how dare I throw her lovely son out. So I told her that she is free to accompany him and his girlfriend out of the wedding because we all agreed on him not proposing to her at the wedding, and yet here he was, trying to propose to his girlfriend even before I'm officially married. My mother was not happy with that at all. She demanded I let my brother finish proposing or else they would walk out. When my mom realized that I simply did not care whether or not she stayed, she took both my brother and brother's girlfriend out of the wedding. The rest of the program went well enough. My sister and father, however, had to leave right after the wedding was done, as dad was constantly getting messages and calls from my mom, and my sister had to attend a quick work call. Before she left, she made sure I knew that I was not TA for kicking them out of the wedding. And while I told her that I did not know that, when I started seeing the shady posts that my brother and his girlfriend started posting since the day of the marriage, I found myself doubting the validity of the statement. So here I am. TLDR. AITA for kicking out my brother who thought it would be great to go against my wishes and propose at my wedding? Update 1. Hey everyone, thank you so much for your responses. Hearing you guys insist that what I did was not wrong made it a bit easier for me to go through the drama that is happening in my life right now. So it turns out my brother, being the liar, told his girlfriend that I had actually wanted him to propose to her at my wedding, and then at the last moment I decided otherwise. How did I get to know about this? Well, I saw one of the toxic and shady posts she made about me online and I decided to reach out to her. Once I did, the first few messages were rather hostile, but once we both realized the true accounts of the situation, she was no longer mad at me and took down all the posts she made about me. I'm thankful for that, if I am being honest. Knowing that at least she did not have any part of it made me feel good, and also made me feel like a bit of an a-hole for kicking her out of the wedding the way I did. She was very understanding, though. She did not hold grudges against me once she realized how the whole thing went down. Other than that, my mother had taken it upon herself to tell the whole of our extended family that I am a terrible person who refused to let my brother propose at my wedding and whatnot. So I'm getting called TA by them as well. Update 2. My brother is extremely angry with me and my mother is a quick second. Why are they angry, you ask? It is because his girlfriend broke up with him. After our conversation was done, she called my brother up and decided to break it off with him because she did not want to be with someone who could not even be honest about the proposal. She also felt like my brother was being entitled and acting like a cheapskate about the whole ordeal, and she knew her self-worth. But all that my brother got from it was that I had been the one to tell her about the reality of the situation. So now I'm the bad guy. I do not know what I'm supposed to do. Update 3. Hey everyone. Sorry it took me about a week and a half to update you guys. My brother and I have stopped talking for now. My mother has sided with my brother. Surprisingly, as my father is on my side, she cannot go too far with her accusations. Everything hit the crescendo right after I posted my last update. My brother and mother came over to my house and told me that I am being hella entitled for wanting to be married before the man of the house is married, and that my married life would never be satisfactory to begin with. Hearing those things from my family hurt me quite a lot. Once they were done with 2 hours of screaming at me and blaming me for all of his relationships, they went home. That was when I called my dad up and told him everything. Now, the rest is history. My brother is living with my parents, so I'm not too worried about his safety, even if he stops speaking with me. As far as my mom is concerned, it is clear that she does not want to speak with me, but owing to my dad, she's forced to speak with me every week. This isn't quite how I thought things would be right now, but my husband is an amazing and understanding person who I could not thank enough for being there. But I must say, this is not how I visualized the beginning of my married life to be. I wanted it to be something happier, something I could share with not just my husband, but with my family. And yet, here we are. I am hopeful that sooner or later we would solve our differences and get back on talking terms again, but I do not know. NTAOP, you did not do anything wrong. Your brother is a spoiled brat. Oh, wow. Reading your post was a bit of a roller coaster. I do not understand how your mother can be this blind to everything and support your brother the way she is. This is messed up on entry level. To take the special day of one child and give it to another is not healthy at all. You are NTAOP. You did the right thing. Next story. I, female, 35, have a daughter, Jessica, female, 15, and 2 years ago I married Joe, male, 47, who has a daughter, Bella, female, 15. Joe and Jessica always have gotten along very well, and I presume Jessica and Bella would also bond as they are the same age. And Jessica has always wanted a sister, and I thought they did get along. At home, they were always nice to each other, shared stuff, seemed to have fun. Recently, I got a call from their school stating that Bella was crying in the office. Before I could ask why, they told me that Jessica was bullying her for being ugly and unfashionable. Bella does have a bit of an alternative style, but I think it's creative and unique and not an excuse to bully her. I was absolutely horrified at this, as when I was a child, I was also bullied for things like that, and I have always raised Jessica to be kind and empathetic. I picked Bella up from school early and took her out for ice cream and let her talk if she wanted to, and she confessed she didn't say anything because she wanted Jessica to like her. And she didn't want to cause any problems, as since her mom died, she hasn't seen her dad so happy. I then continued to tell her I wouldn't tell Jessica that she told me, but tell her the school did to possibly mend their relationship, and that she can always talk to me whenever, as although I will never replace her mom, I want to be there for her no matter what. When Jessica came home, I told her that her behavior is extremely unkind, and I asked her why she did it. She then continued to say that she is right and that Bella dresses like a freak and looks like a hideous rat, and that her friends were teasing her for having to live with her. I then told her that I would be taking away her phone for a week and that she has to apologize to Bella. She then proceeded to say more nasty things about Bella, which then made me snap. I told her I would take away all her makeup except her skincare prescribed by her dermatologist and most of her new clothes that I bought for her last week. And she then started crying, which made me feel bad, but I didn't relent. One of her main interests is makeup and fashion, as she wants to be a stylist when she grows up. But since she is bullying her stepsister for a related thing, I thought it would be appropriate until she learns to show kindness to others. I have offered to set up therapy or try to discuss it, but she screams I'm ruining her life every time I'm near her. Bella appreciates my effort, and before anyone asks why Joe is not involved, it is because he goes on a lot of business trips, so he is currently away, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. NTA, after raising her to be kind and empathetic and her bullying her sister, I think that punishment fits the nature of the bullying. Also, sounds like her friends are little bullies too. Might want to think about steering her away from them. Absolutely, NTA. You're a wonderful stepmother, and Bella is lucky to have you. I'm sure your support means a lot to her. Jessica needs to learn a lesson, and that's a good way of doing so. Maybe also try to talk to Jessica and slowly dismantle these toxic, superficial ideas she has. It might help the issue being solved because I don't think Bella is the only girl she's bullying. Next story. When I was in high school, I was friends with a popular girl, Madison. I'm not a nice guy, and we were honestly friends. She was out of my league, and I never had any thoughts about a relationship with her. We remained friends when I went away to university, and I was happy for her when she got married. I work for a tech company now, not one of the FANG companies, but they still provide some really cool stuff for their employees. Our cafeteria is free and open 24 hours a day. We can eat all our meals there if we want. They have a nutritionist that makes sure the meals are tasty and healthy. I take advantage of the food on a fairly regular basis, but I still keep food at my apartment to make myself meals I learned to make from my dad. And I keep Fruit Loops, which the cafeteria does not stock. 5 weeks ago, Madison left her husband and asked if she could stay with me while she figured stuff out. I agreed since I have a spare room and we are friends. I thought it was a more temporary thing. She has a job and I think she has access to a joint account with her husband. I thought she would be here for a couple of weeks, then go to her folks or settle her problems with her husband. Instead, she has been in my house other than to work. She ate all my food in the fridge and pantry. I went grocery shopping once so far, but she ate everything again and didn't offer to pay to replace it. I asked her when she was going to be moving out, but she says she doesn't know. I asked her for some money for groceries, and she says she hasn't been paid. It's been 5 weeks. I don't think anyone holds back wages that long. So last week, instead of going to Whole Foods, I just started eating all my meals either at work or at a restaurant on the way home. She asked me when I was going shopping, but I said I was too busy with work. She offered to go shopping for us if I gave her the money. I said I was too busy to cook food at home. She is saying that I'm an a-hole for trying to use food to control her or too cheap to help her out. She thinks I'm trying to be with her. I'm already not charging her rent, and I honestly wouldn't be with her with a stolen dick. She is still beautiful, but I'm seeing a side of her I never saw before. NTA, I know this is not an advice sub, but you need to get her out of your house. This has the potential to go sideways really badly. Maybe I'm just a pessimist, but it sounds like she thinks you are a better meal ticket, both figuratively and literally, than her husband. I hope I'm wrong. NTA. But you haven't really been straight with her. Saying you're too busy to shop and cook and asking when she's moving out really isn't honest. It's too soft. Madison has effectively ruined the friendship, and you need to be brutally honest about that. Don't ask when she's moving out. Tell her you expect half the rent or for her to move out at the beginning of the month. Tell her that, yes, you are using food to manipulate her, but it doesn't seem to be working since she hasn't bought any food to replace what she has eaten. And yes, you will continue to eat at work or on the way home until she moves out. Too bad about the demise of your friendship. There's nothing like living with someone to find out who they really are. Maybe that's what happened to her marriage and why her parents won't let her move back in with them. Good luck. NTA. Honestly, she sounds like the kind of person who's used to getting her way all the time and doesn't think twice about taking advantage of others. It is probably time for a serious talk about expectations. Tell her she either needs to pay her share of expenses or she needs to find a new couch to sleep on. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.